You don't live life as it is. You live life as you think it is. That's the truth at the heart of mastering your mind. Every moment you experience, every joy, every failure, every decision, is filtered through your thoughts. Before you act, you think. Before you speak, you think. Before you choose, you think. Yet, most people never stop to question how they think. They assume their thoughts are natural, automatic, or even correct. They carry the beliefs they were handed as children, shaped by parents, schools, and society, and then let those untested beliefs quietly run their lives. And because they never question them, they repeat the same mistakes. They react the same way. They feel stuck in the same emotions. They live the same story, again and again. This audiobook is your way out of that cycle. It's not about theory. It's about real, practical awareness, the kind that transforms the way you see yourself and the world around you. Together, we'll explore how your mind truly works. You'll learn how to spot the hidden loops that keep you stuck, how to challenge what you believe, and how to replace mental habits that hold you back with strategies that move you forward. Every choice, every reaction, every pattern begins in thought. If you learn to control that, you learn to control your life. So take a deep breath, because this is where your new chapter begins. Every day you face small tests that reveal your level of control. Someone cuts you off in traffic. A coworker says something that irritates you. A tiny mistake ruins hours of work. And before you even realize it, you react. You snap back. You get defensive. You shut down. The emotion floods in so fast that it feels automatic. But here's the truth. Automatic doesn't mean inevitable. Those reactions aren't destiny. They're patterns your brain has rehearsed over years. The first step to mastering your thinking is learning how to pause. Not to freeze, not to overthink, but to pause just long enough for reason to take over instinct. Because when instinct runs wild, regret often follows. Think about your life. How many moments of regret came from things you said too quickly? From decisions made in anger? From reactions you wish you could take back? It wasn't lack of intelligence that caused those mistakes. It was lack of pause. Slowing down your reactions doesn't mean ignoring emotions. It means creating space between feeling and action. Because in that space, just a few seconds long, you regain control. The human brain loves shortcuts. It builds habits to save energy. That's why when someone criticizes you, you instantly defend yourself. When you feel rejected, you close off. When you fail, you panic. Your mind thinks it's protecting you. But in truth, those shortcuts often stop your growth. So the first real step to growth isn't to change your emotion. It's to notice it. Next time anger rises, don't fight it. Just notice it. When fear creeps in, don't run. Just notice it. Awareness is the light that exposes the dark corners of your automatic mind. Once you notice, breathe. Breathing is the simplest way to interrupt the storm. One deep breath tells your nervous system, I'm safe. It slows your heart. It gives your mind space to think. And in that moment you have a choice. React or respond. Every area of your life, relationships, work, health, is shaped not just by what you know, but by how you react. A single angry outburst can destroy trust you built over years. A thoughtful pause, on the other hand, can repair a relationship that was breaking. Quick reactions close doors. Calm responses open them. When you slow down, you send yourself a powerful message. I am not a slave to my emotions. I am in charge of my choices. And that belief builds identity. It builds self-respect. Because self-respect comes from consistency. Knowing that even when emotions surge, you stay grounded. Most people try to control emotions during the storm. That's too late. You must rehearse calm before chaos. Sit quietly for 5 minutes and imagine common triggers. Someone insulting you, a plan failing, traffic delays, rejection. Visualize your reaction, the pause, the breath, the calm tone. Each mental rehearsal rewires your brain. So when the real moment comes, you're not surprised, you're prepared. Psychologists say that automatic reactions come from the survival brain, the same part that kept our ancestors alive. But in the modern world, you're rarely in physical danger. Your brain still reacts as if criticism is an attack or rejection is death. By slowing down, you shift from survival mode to growth mode. In growth mode, you analyze instead of attack. You listen instead of defend. You act instead of react. That's how peace of mind is built. Not through control over others, but through control over yourself. Your old reactions have been practiced for years, so this won't change overnight. You'll slip. You'll snap. You'll forget. But that's okay. Each time you pause, even once, you're teaching your brain a new language. Every small win counts. Because emotional control isn't about never feeling. It's about feeling deeply and still choosing wisely. That's the mark of true maturity. And when you practice this enough, something powerful happens. People start to notice. They sense the steadiness in you. They trust your judgment. They respect your calm. You stop being someone who reacts. You become someone who responds. And that quiet confidence, that's what separates leaders from followers. So remember this, every pause is power. Every deep breath is a small victory. Every calm response is a step toward mastery. You don't control the world, but you can control how your mind meets it. And that is the beginning of everything. You can't change what you can't see. And most people can't see their own thinking. They see outcomes, missed chances, repeated arguments, abandoned goals, but they never trace the thread back to the thought that started it. So the same story plays on repeat. New week, same habits. New relationship, same fights. New job, same doubts. Different stage, same script. If you want to become the author of your life, you must take the pen back from your autopilot mind. You do that by mapping your thought patterns, clearly, honestly, relentlessly, until your invisible loops are no longer invisible. This is not a vague idea. It's a practical craft. You are about to learn it. Your mind has terrain. Valleys of doubt, ridges of pride, rivers of fear, plains of calm, and forests of curiosity. You've walked these paths so many times that your feet know them by memory. The brain loves efficiency, so it paves the routes you use most often. These become loops, fast tracks that carry you from trigger to reaction without asking if the destination serves you. To break a loop, you must see it from above. That's what mapping does. You become the cartographer of your inner world. You stop walking blindly and start charting deliberately. Begin with 3 words that change everything. There it is. Anger flares, there it is. Comparison surges, there it is. Avoidance creeps in, there it is. This tiny phrase pulls you out of the loop and onto the map. It separates you from the pattern. The moment you can point at it, you are no longer inside it, you are observing it. Observation is oxygen. The loop can't breathe without it. Give your loops names. Children stop being scary when you learn their names. So do fears. The not ready loop. Every opportunity feels premature. So you collect courses, bookmarks, and plans but rarely act. The they don't respect me loop, neutral feedback feels like an attack. You defend, withdraw, or retaliate. The all or nothing loop, if it can't be perfect, you won't start. If you miss one day, you quit the habit. The someday loop, you romanticize a future self while abandoning the present self who actually needs help. The mind reader loop, you guess motives, assign meanings, and carry resentments for sentences that were never spoken. The catastrophe loop, a small setback becomes the end of the road. You rehearse disaster instead of action. Write these names at the top of a page. Leave space beneath each. You've just opened files on your own mind. Every loop has a fuse. Find it. A raised eyebrow. A delayed reply. A closed tone in a meeting. A bill you didn't expect. Scrolling past someone's highlight reel at 11:47 p.m. Triggers aren't problems. They're data. When you spot the fuse, you can disarm the explosion. Capture 3 details when a loop activates. Cue what started it. Boss sighed while reading my email. Narrative. What story did I tell myself? I messed up. They're disappointed. I'm not competent. Action. What did I do next? Over-explained. Sent 3 follow-ups. Avoided asking for help. That's your loop in full color. When written, it loses its camouflage. For 5 days, track 5 moments per day when emotion spiked, good or bad. Use a small note app or a sticky card in your pocket. Keep it brutally simple. Time, 10:12 a.m. Trigger. Client asked for revisions. Loop. I'm incompetent. Not ready. Loop. Reaction. Overwork. Skipped lunch. Silent resentment. Alternative I could have chosen. Ask for specifics plus estimate new timeline. At week's end, lay the 25 notes on a table or in a single document. Patterns will jump off the page. You'll likely find that 80% of your emotional drain comes from 20% of your loops. That's where you focus. Most loops survive not because they are correct, but because they are unquestioned. Run the truth exam. Always, every, never test. If your thought uses absolute language, I always, they never, it's probably a loop, not a law. Courtroom standard. If you had to prove the belief in court, do you have evidence or just vibes? Opposite evidence drill. List 3 examples that contradict the loop. Can't find them? Ask a friend who knows you well. Time window. Was this belief formed in a younger chapter of life? Old locks don't fit new doors. Cost ledger. What does this loop cost you? In time, money, trust, opportunity, joy? When the cost becomes visible, your motivation to change skyrockets. Write your answers. Loops hate paper because paper doesn't lie. You don't delete a loop by wrestling with it. You replace it with a better script. The brain prefers something over nothing. Give it better. Use if, then breathe statements. If I feel the not ready loop, then I will define one 15-minute first step and schedule it today. Breathe 3 times before I start. If I hear, they don't respect me, then I will ask one clarifying question before I respond. Breathe to settle my tone. If I spot all or nothing, then I will complete a 1 times version. 1 set, 1 page, 1 outreach. Breathe and log the win. Pre-written responses beat in the moment improvisation. Pilots don't invent checklists in a storm. Neither should you. Loops aren't only thoughts. They're sensations. Your jaw tightens. Your chest compresses. Your shoulders collapse. Learn your body's early alarms. Create a somatic map. Next to each named loop, note the body signal that precedes it. Not ready flutter in stomach. Mind reader heat in cheeks. Catastrophe shallow breath plus forehead tension. When the body whispers, intervene early. Drop your shoulders. Inhale through the nose for 4 counts. Exhale for 6. Physiological calm makes cognitive clarity possible. Use a simple table you can maintain in 60 seconds per entry. Date. Trigger. Loop name. Old story. 1 sentence. New script. 1 sentence. Microaction taken. Result. Commit to 10 entries per week. Consistency beats complexity. After 3 weeks, review the result column. You will see a behavioral pivot beginning to form. Less reactivity, more choice. When a loop hits, split the scene into 2 camera angles. Camera A, external facts, what a camera would record words spoken, times, actions, numbers. Camera B, internal interpretation, what your mind supplied, motives, labels, predictions. Speak them out loud. Camera A, my partner said, can we talk later? Camera B, they're bored of me. This separation breaks fusion. You treat interpretations as hypotheses, not commandments. Some loops are old guardians, clumsy but well-intentioned. They formed to protect you when protection was needed. Respect them and retire them. Ask, when did I first learn this move? Whose voice does it sound like? What did it protect me from then? What does it cost me now? Thank the loop for its service. Then write a short retirement notice. Dear Stay Invisible Loop, you kept me safe in rooms where I wasn't allowed to speak. I'm not in that room anymore. I need visibility now. I relieve you of duty. Ritual matters. The brain remembers ceremony. Run 7-day experiments to test new scripts. Keep them tiny. Visibility lab. Speak once in every meeting, even if only to summarize. Recovery lab. After any mistake, write 1 learning plus 1 next action within 15 minutes. Connection lab. When you assume a motive, ask 1 curious question before concluding. Consistency lab. Choose 1 habit and commit to the ugly version daily. Quality doesn't matter. Showing up does. Score yourself nightly. +1. Did it? 0. Partial. -1, skipped. Aim for a positive weekly total, not perfection. Loops thrive in isolation. Accountability dissolves them. Choose one growth partner. Not a cheerleader who flatters you, but an ally who reflects you. Share your top 3 loops and the scripts you're testing. Ask them to watch for your tells. Tone spikes, rapid typing, long silences. Give them permission to call loop in real time. Agree on a reset phrase like pause plus breathe plus choose. You'll be shocked how much faster you change when someone else can see what you pretend not to. Your loops speak in certain phrases. Replace them. I can't. I haven't yet. This always happens. This has happened before. I'm choosing differently now. They made me. I chose to. It's who I am. It's what I practiced. Language is the steering wheel of thought. Turn the wheel. When triggered, don't debate endlessly. Pick a door. Door 1, micro-action, less than or equal to 2 minutes, send the clarification text. Set a 25-minute focus timer. Drink water. Take the stairs. Door 2, micro-reflection, less than or equal to 2 minutes, write cue. Story. Action. Better on a sticky note. Door 3, micro-regulation, less than or equal to 2 minutes, box breathing. 4-4-4-4. 20 slow shoulder rolls. Look out a window at a far horizon. Any door moves you out of the loop's grip and back into choice. Emotion feels infinite. Numbers are finite. Convert. For one recurring loop, say, not ready. Track in a monthly ledger. Occurrences, 17. Average duration, 14 minutes. Interruptions achieved, 12. Wins action despite loop 9. Next month, aim to reduce duration and increase wins. Progress is a direction, not a drum roll. When the loop is loudest. Loops shout when you are tired, hungry, rushed, lonely, or online too long. Build loop shields into your day. Sleep floor, non-negotiable minimum hours. Fuel windows, eat before hard conversations. Margin blocks, 10 minutes between meetings for reset. Quiet pocket, 20 minutes device-free in the afternoon. Sun and movement, 10-minute walk before big decisions. These aren't luxuries, they're cognitive infrastructure. Mapping your loops will quietly transform your relationships. Defensiveness loop curiosity script. Can you say more about what you meant? Withdrawal loop engagement script. I need 5 minutes to clear my head. I want to finish this well. Scorekeeping loop generosity script. Here's what I appreciate about what you did today. Trust is built in micro-moments. Your new scripts create them on purpose. Professional growth isn't just skills, it's loop management in public. Presentations improve when the mind reader loop is replaced by the value delivery script. My job is to make one idea land. Negotiations improve when the please like me loop becomes the mutual fit script. Let's explore whether this works for both of us. Deep work improves when the all-or-nothing loop becomes the first 5 rule. Open the doc. Write 5 ugly sentences. Confidence is not loudness. It's the absence of sabotaging loops at the critical moment. You won't break loops with contempt for yourself. Shame hardens patterns. Compassion softens them so they can bend. Adopt this stance. My brain is doing an old job using an outdated tool. I'm upgrading the toolkit. Speak to yourself like someone you're responsible for improving, not someone you're eager to punish. 2 anchors. Morning map, 3 minutes. Today's likely triggers, max 3. Loops they awaken. Pre-written scripts, if then breathe. Night mirror, 3 minutes. Where a loop ran me. Where I interrupted it. 1 sentence I'm proud of. 1 adjustment for tomorrow. 6 minutes a day will do more for your life than 6 motivational videos. There is a line you cross when mapping becomes identity. You stop saying, that's just the way I am, and you start saying, that's the way I was when I didn't know my loops. You stop taking every feeling as a fact and start treating feelings as signals to be checked, not orders to be obeyed. This is freedom, not the absence of emotion, but the presence of choice. Not the erasure of your past, but the authorship of your future. Your loops are not your destiny. They are drafts. You are the editor. Pick up the pen. Your beliefs are invisible architects. They design the structure of your reality, quietly, powerfully, relentlessly. Every choice you make, every emotion you feel, every limit you obey, all are built on the foundation of what you believe to be true. And here's the paradox. Most people never stop to check if their beliefs are true at all. They live inside invisible walls they never built, following blueprints they never questioned. A teacher said something in childhood. A parent warned them once. A failure left a scar. And from those moments a rule was born, a belief that now rules them. But mastery begins when you challenge those rules. When you stop treating every old conclusion as a law and start demanding proof. That's where transformation begins, at the intersection of belief and evidence. A belief is not a fact. It's a story your mind accepted so many times that it stopped checking for updates. Beliefs begin as thoughts, fueled by emotion, cemented by repetition. They are shortcuts for the brain, efficient, automatic, and dangerous when unchecked. Think about it. I'm not good enough. People always leave. Success is for the lucky. If I try, I'll fail. These phrases look small, but they control entire lives. They dictate who speaks up, who stays silent, who dares to dream, and who hides in the corner waiting for permission. To take control of your life, you must first become a scientist of your own mind. You must run experiments on your beliefs, not to shame them, but to test them. Because truth can handle pressure. Lies cannot. Every belief has a birthplace. Find it. Ask yourself, when did I first start believing this? Who told me this was true? What event or emotion made it stick? Have I ever verified it since then? You'll often find that the origin isn't logic. It's emotion. Someone laughed at you when you spoke up. A parent said, be realistic. A teacher graded your effort instead of your courage. And without realizing it, you drew a conclusion about yourself or the world. You mistook a moment for a rule. Example, you spoke once, got laughed at, and decided, I shouldn't speak. Years later, that belief still silences you, even though the laughter ended long ago. You don't live in the past, but your beliefs might. So bring them into the present and ask, does this still serve me now? Take one belief you've carried for years. Maybe it's I'm not capable, or I'm unlucky, or things never work out for me. Now run it through the belief audit. State it clearly. Write it in one sentence. List the evidence for it. Be honest, moments, patterns, experiences that seem to prove it true. List the evidence against it. All the times it wasn't true. All the victories, recoveries, improvements. Weigh the scales. Which side has more factual weight, not emotional weight? Rewrite the belief. Turn it from a rigid rule into a flexible truth. I always fail becomes sometimes I fail, but I also learn fast. People can't be trusted becomes some people hurt me, but others have shown loyalty. I'm not capable becomes I'm still developing, and I've already handled harder things. This isn't false positivity. It's accuracy, something your brain forgot to practice. You've repeated certain thoughts for years. Each repetition became proof in your mind. Each emotion became a stamp of certainty. That's how familiarity disguised itself as truth. But familiarity and truth are not the same. A lie repeated 1,000 times still collapses under one moment of honest scrutiny. The problem is, most people never apply that scrutiny. They think thoughts are facts. So they never realize that beliefs are choices, and choices can be rewritten. Once you hold a belief, your brain goes looking for evidence to prove it right, and conveniently ignores everything that disproves it. This is called confirmation bias, and it is one of the greatest thieves of growth. If you believe you're unlucky, you'll notice every bad event and overlook every blessing. If you believe people don't care, you'll focus on one cold glance and forget 100 acts of kindness. If you believe you're not capable, every mistake becomes proof, while every success becomes luck. So the first step is to catch yourself in the act. When you start collecting evidence to confirm your own suffering, pause and ask, what am I not seeing? What evidence am I ignoring right now? That single question can flip your perspective. Imagine you're in court, forced to defend your belief in front of a judge. The judge asks, "Where's your evidence? Would your proof hold up?" If you say, "I just feel it," the case collapses. If your witness list is filled with assumptions, opinions, and half-remembered stories, the verdict will not be in your favor. A strong belief can withstand examination. A weak one falls apart when light shines on it. So cross-examine your thoughts like a lawyer. Treat every belief as a witness whose honesty must be verified. Because the truth doesn't fear investigation, only lies do. You can't simply delete an old belief. You must replace it with one backed by real proof. Here's how. Collect small wins. Every time you do something your old belief said you couldn't, write it down. You spoke up? That's evidence. You handled a challenge? Evidence. You recovered from failure? Evidence. Small wins become a new database for your mind. Proof that you are more capable than your past thinks. Surround yourself with counterexamples. If you believe success is for the privileged, spend time with people who built themselves from scratch. If you believe kindness is weakness, study people who lead with empathy and still win. Let real examples attack fake limits. Create belief experiments. Don't wait for belief to change. Test it. Believe you're bad at learning? Take one 7-day skill challenge. Believe people don't care? Initiate 5 small acts of kindness and observe. Evidence grows only through experiments. Not all beliefs come from logic, many come from pain. When someone you trusted hurt you, you may have formed the belief, "I can't trust anyone." When you failed once, you may have believed, "I'm not good enough." When you felt abandoned, you may have thought, "I'm not worth keeping." These are emotional conclusions, survival mechanisms that once kept you safe. But now they keep you small. Healing begins not by shaming those beliefs, but by understanding where they came from. They were self-protection, not self-definition. Say to yourself, "This belief once protected me, but I no longer need protection. I need expansion." That shift from defense to growth changes everything. Strong beliefs are built like bridges, supported by evidence, tested by weight, maintained with care. When constructing new beliefs, use this truth framework. T-tested. I verified it through action, not assumption. Are realistic. It aligns with evidence, not fantasy. You useful. It helps me grow, not shrink. T-timed. I'm open to updating it as I evolve. H. Honest. It's rooted in integrity, not comfort. Run your beliefs through this test regularly. If one fails, rebuild it. The hardest beliefs to challenge are not about the world. They're about you. I'm not lovable. I'm always the outsider. I'm the kind who gives up. These identity beliefs sit beneath behavior. They explain why you self-sabotage just when success arrives. The way out is gentle confrontation. Ask, who told me this was true? Would I teach this belief to a child I love? If the answer is no, why would you keep living by it? Replace identity beliefs with identity standards. I'm not confident becomes, I'm learning to act with courage. I'm broken becomes, I'm rebuilding with strength. I'm not worthy becomes, I'm becoming someone who earns respect daily. You don't need instant certainty. You need direction. Beliefs are not just mirrors of the past. They are blueprints for your future. If you believe life is unfair, you'll subconsciously avoid opportunity, expecting disappointment. If you believe growth is possible, you'll spot learning where others see failure. If you believe people are good, you'll build trust that multiplies goodwill. Beliefs are magnets. They pull reality toward their frequency. So choose your frequency carefully. Here's how you train your mind like an athlete. Week 1. Identify your top 3 limiting beliefs. Write their origins, evidence for/against, and how they affect daily behavior. Week 2. Run one small experiment that challenges each belief. Week 3. Record all counter-evidence that proves the belief false. Week 4. Write your replacement beliefs in clear, affirmative language and read them daily. After 30 days, your inner dialogue will shift. You'll think less in limitation, more in possibility. That's the foundation of critical thinking, Not believing nothing, but believing wisely. Every belief can be tested with one ultimate question. Is this belief helping me become who I want to be, or holding me where I was? If it lifts you, nurture it. If it limits you, challenge it. If it once protected you but now confines you, thank it and let it go. Your beliefs shape your perception. Your perception shapes your decisions. And your decisions shape your destiny. So never let untested beliefs write the story of your life. You have the right and the responsibility to rewrite them. To build a belief system aligned with truth, evidence, and purpose. To think consciously, act deliberately, and live freely. Every single day, life hands you choices. Some are small: what to eat, how to spend the next hour. Others carry enormous weight. Whether to leave a job, end a relationship, invest in a new path. Each decision adds up, shaping the quality of your life like brushstrokes on a canvas. But here's the truth most people avoid. They don't decide, they react. They let impulse, fear, and emotion drive the wheel. They mistake feelings for facts, urgency for importance, noise for truth. And that's why their life feels unstable, because it's built on unstable reasoning. To master your life, you must master your thinking. And to master your thinking, you must strengthen the muscle of logic. Logic is not cold or robotic. It's clarity, the ability to separate emotion from evidence, noise from signal, reaction from reason. Strong reasoning doesn't mean you stop feeling. It means you don't let feelings make the final call. Emotions are powerful messengers, but terrible leaders. Anger can tell you a boundary was crossed, but it can't decide the punishment. Fear can warn you of risk, but it can't dictate retreat. Excitement can signal opportunity, but it can't measure consequences. Logical reasoning is the art of hearing your emotions but letting your mind cast the final vote. Rush thinking is emotional thinking. When something happens, your brain creates an instant judgment: good, bad, threat, safe. That's the survival system doing its job. But survival mode doesn't belong in everyday decisions. You're not being chased by a tiger when you get an angry email. So your first act of reasoning is to slow down. Pause before responding. Ask, what exactly happened? What do I know versus what do I assume? What outcome am I trying to create? Write those questions down if you have to. Every second you buy between stimulus and response adds clarity. That's where smart choices are born, in the pause between reaction and reflection. Logic begins where guessing ends. Before you decide, you need data. Ask yourself, what are the confirmed facts? What's missing? Who benefits if I believe this? What evidence supports each side? Too many people make decisions with half the puzzle pieces and fill in the rest with assumptions. Don't assume. Verify. Before reacting to an argument, confirm what was actually said. Before accepting a claim, check the source. Before jumping to a conclusion, look for proof. It sounds simple, but this one practice separates the wise from the impulsive. Most bad decisions come from false urgency, the feeling that there's only one way forward. Strong thinkers never let their minds close that fast. They train themselves to see multiple routes. When faced with a choice, write down at least 3 possible actions. The most comfortable one, the most daring one, the balanced, evidence-based one. You'll often find that your best choice isn't your first instinct. It's the one that appears once you slow down enough to see it. Remember, options create power. When you see only one path, emotion owns you. When you see many, reason returns. Poor reasoning lives in the present moment. It asks, what feels good now? Strong reasoning looks ahead and asks, what will feel right later? When deciding, ask yourself 3 timeline questions. How will I feel about this decision tomorrow? How will I feel in a month? How will I feel in a year? If the short-term answer is pleasure but the long-term answer is regret, pause. If the short-term answer is discomfort but the long-term answer is pride, proceed. Emotional decisions chase comfort. Logical decisions chase consequence. The fact, my boss gave me feedback. The interpretation, they don't believe in me. The fact, my friend didn't reply for 2 days. The interpretation, they're ignoring me. See the difference? Most mental suffering comes from interpretation, not fact. When something happens, train yourself to state the bare facts out loud, as if describing it to someone who wasn't there. Then list your interpretations separately. Once you see that your story and the situation are two different things, logic can step in. You can ask, what evidence supports my interpretation? What other explanations could exist? The more interpretations you generate, the less hostage you become to any one of them. Your brain is a storyteller that wants to be right, not accurate. That's why we all suffer from cognitive bias, mental shortcuts that distort the truth. 3 of the biggest culprits. Confirmation bias. You look only for evidence that supports what you already believe. Availability bias. You assume the most recent or dramatic memory equals the truth. Comfort bias. You favor options that protect your ego instead of revealing your flaws. To fight bias, become your own skeptic. Ask, if I were wrong, what would prove it? The goal isn't to be right. The goal is to be accurate. Rightness feels good. Accuracy builds life. No one sees the full picture alone. Logic grows sharper when it meets friction, when you test your thinking against other minds. Ask someone you respect, what do you see that I might be missing? Choose people who think differently, not just those who agree. If your reasoning can survive disagreement, it's strong. If it crumbles under questions, it wasn't reasoning, it was preference dressed as truth. Humility is the oxygen of logic. Without it, thinking suffocates. Logic thrives on consistency. Without principles, every choice becomes emotional chaos. Set personal rules you can live by. I do not make major decisions when I'm angry or exhausted. I will not act on fear alone. I will gather proof. I will not commit unless it aligns with my long-term values. I will not rush what deserves reflection. These rules become anchors when the sea of emotion rises. They turn chaos into clarity. You can't improve what you don't track. Keep a simple decision journal. For each major decision, write the situation, the options you considered, the reasoning behind your choice, the result after 1 week, 1 month, 3 months. Over time, patterns emerge. You'll see where you rushed, where you ignored evidence, and where logic saved you. Reflection turns experience into wisdom. Logic without emotion is cold. Emotion without logic is chaos. You need both. The goal is not to suppress emotion but to stabilize it, to give feeling a framework. When sadness hits, logic reminds you it will pass. When fear hits, logic reminds you what's in your control. When joy hits, logic reminds you to stay humble. A mature mind doesn't silence feelings, it interprets them accurately. In relationships, you stop assuming intentions. You start asking questions. You listen more, accuse less, and resolve faster. In work, you make fewer emotional commitments. You measure before you leap. Your reputation shifts from reactive to reliable. In personal growth, you stop believing your mood defines your reality. You stop running from failure and start analyzing it. Every setback becomes data, not drama. This is the quiet confidence that logical people carry, not arrogance but steadiness. Each morning, ask, what important decisions might I face today? What facts do I already know? What assumptions should I test? What emotions might distort my view? What principles will I follow no matter what? End the day by asking, did I act on emotion or on evidence today? Did my decision align with my values? What can I improve tomorrow? In less than 10 minutes, you'll strengthen your reasoning muscles daily, until clear thinking becomes automatic. When you think logically, you move through life lighter. You make fewer avoidable mistakes. You speak with calm certainty instead of anxious defense. People begin to trust your judgment because it's steady, fair, and deliberate. Logic doesn't just make you smarter. It makes you peaceful, because regret is loud, but reason is quiet. And a quiet mind is a powerful one. So the next time life demands a decision, remember this. Don't ask, what feels right now? Ask, what will still feel right when the emotion fades? That's not cold. That's wise. That's how you live with fewer regrets and more results. Every person you've ever admired, every calm leader, every wise creator, every disciplined builder has one thing in common. They think on purpose. They don't just have thoughts. They shape them. They don't let their mind run wild. They train it like a loyal instrument. You, too, have a constant stream of thoughts, thousands every hour. Most of them repeat like background music. And buried in that repetition are habits of thought, automatic patterns that can either lift you or limit you. Some of these habits are powerful. They build discipline, creativity, gratitude, courage. Others, however, quietly sabotage you. They magnify failure, exaggerate fear, shrink confidence, and turn small problems into storms. To change your life, you must learn to spot those unhelpful thinking habits and replace them with constructive mental strategies that build strength instead of stress. This is the true rewiring of the mind. Unhelpful thinking doesn't announce itself. It whispers. You might tell yourself, "That's just how I am." But that "how I am" is often just a "how I've practiced." You're not inherently negative, anxious, or undisciplined. You're practiced in those directions. Habits of thought are learned, and anything learned can be unlearned. Start by noticing when your mind automatically leans toward catastrophizing, turning small setbacks into full disasters. Mind reading, assuming you know what others think. Overgeneralizing, believing one failure means "I always fail." Discounting positives, ignoring compliments but holding on to criticism. Black and white thinking, viewing everything as success or failure, good or bad, win or loss. Emotional reasoning, believing if I feel it, it must be true. You can't fix what you don't recognize. Awareness is the door. When you notice an unhelpful thought rising, don't fight it. Interrupt it. Say it out loud if you must. Pause. That's a habit, not a fact. The act of naming it separates you from it. You're no longer inside the thought, you're observing it. Imagine the thought like a train passing by. You can jump on and ride it toward chaos, or you can watch it pass and wait for a better train. That small distance, the space between thought and reaction, is where transformation begins. You can't simply delete a habit of thought. The mind hates empty space. If you remove an unhelpful habit, you must replace it with a constructive one. For example, instead of replaying mistakes, replay lessons. Instead of focusing on what's missing, focus on what's available. Instead of assuming failure, plan adjustment. Instead of saying "I can't," say "I haven't yet." Substitution gives your brain a new script. With repetition, that script becomes your new default. Reframing doesn't mean pretending everything is perfect. It means finding the most useful way to view the situation. For example, you didn't fail, you learned what doesn't work yet. You weren't rejected, you were redirected toward something better. You didn't lose time, you gained clarity about priorities. The facts don't change, but the interpretation does. And interpretation determines emotion. Reframing turns pain into data, failure into feedback, and fear into a signal that you're growing. Unhelpful thoughts are powered by assumption, not evidence. They feel true, but feelings are not facts. So the next time your mind says, "I'm not improving," or "I always mess up," stop and ask, what evidence proves this is 100% true? What evidence proves it might not be? Then list at least 3 examples that contradict the thought. The goal isn't to lie to yourself, it's to balance the scale of reality. You've likely been arguing against yourself for years. It's time to become your own defense attorney. Your attention is a magnifying glass. Whatever you focus on grows. When you obsess over problems, they feel enormous. When you focus on solutions, your energy changes instantly. Every time you catch yourself replaying, "What went wrong?" pause and ask, "What can I do right now to move this forward?" That question shifts your mind from paralysis to progress. Action ends overthinking. Even the smallest movement, a single email, a single conversation, a single note in your journal, can dissolve mental fog. Words aren't just descriptions, they're directions. Your brain listens to your vocabulary and follows it like GPS. If your self-talk is filled with words like always, never, can't, hopeless, your mind programs for failure. Start replacing them with flexible, empowering language. Old language, constructive upgrade. I always mess things up. Sometimes I struggle, but I'm learning faster each time. I'll never change. I'm improving a little every day. It's impossible. It's difficult, but possible with effort. I don't know what to do. I'm figuring it out one step at a time. Tiny word changes reshape entire thought systems. Every evening, write down the most unhelpful thought you had today, the trigger that caused it, the emotion it created, the constructive strategy you used or could use next time. Example, thought, I'm wasting my time. Trigger, project delay. Emotion, frustration, hopelessness. New strategy, reframe, I'm gaining experience on what doesn't work yet. Over time, this log becomes proof of growth. You'll see old patterns fade and new ones form. Progress written down becomes undeniable. Gratitude is not cliché, it's neurological strategy. When you deliberately focus on what's going well, your brain releases dopamine and serotonin, chemicals that enhance mood and focus. Every night, write down 3 things you're grateful for. Not grand things, just real ones. The quiet morning coffee, the message from a friend, the fact that you kept your word to yourself today. Gratitude rewires the mind from scarcity to sufficiency, trains you to see what's right instead of what's missing. When your mind delivers a negative statement, I'm failing, no one supports me, I can't do this, don't argue or deny it. Just ask, what else is true? You may discover, I'm failing here, but I'm improving in other areas. Not everyone supports me, but some people genuinely do. I can't do it alone, but I can learn or ask for help. This question doesn't erase pain, it balances it. And balance restores power. When the mind spirals, rely on this simple 3-step trio. Pause, 1 deep breath in, 1 long breath out. Label, name the habit, catastrophizing, comparison, overthinking. Shift, choose 1 constructive action. Write, stretch, call, walk, or refocus. 3 steps, 90 seconds, instant reset. Not every thought has to be perfectly true to be powerful. Sometimes the most helpful thought is the one that moves you forward. For example, you may not know you'll succeed, but believing, I can handle whatever happens, helps you act boldly. You may not feel motivated, but thinking starting small still counts gets you moving. Don't chase truth for truth's sake. Chase usefulness. If a thought helps you grow, it's worth practicing. Replacing mental habits isn't about becoming endlessly positive. It's about becoming steady. The real sign of growth isn't that you never think negatively. It's that your recovery time shortens. You fall, but you get up faster. You doubt, but you return to reason sooner. You feel fear, but you move forward anyway. That's progress. That's mental fitness. Make your environment remind you of your constructive mindset. Sticky notes with new scripts. A reminder on your phone that says, pause, breathe, reframe. Music that calms you during work. A journal left open on your desk with today's intention written on top. Your space should echo your new thinking. At the end of each week, review your thought journal. Ask, which unhelpful habits appeared most? Which constructive strategies worked best? Where did I relapse and why? Reflection turns mental work into mastery. Every time you replace an unhelpful thought with a constructive one, you're building trust with yourself. You're proving that you can rely on your own mind, not as an enemy, but as an ally. This quiet inner respect becomes confidence. Because real confidence isn't pretending you have no fear. It's knowing that when fear comes, your mind won't collapse, it will respond. Do this long enough and you'll notice something miraculous. You'll stop practicing positivity and start embodying stability. You won't have to remind yourself to reframe, you'll just see differently. You won't fight your emotions, you'll guide them. You won't fear your mind, you'll trust it. Constructive thinking will become who you are. And who you are will start to match who you've always wanted to be. So ask yourself now, Which mental habits have been running the show for too long? Which ones drain your energy, distort your truth, or limit your potential? And which new strategies will you choose to replace them with starting today? Because every time you replace an unhelpful thought with a constructive one, you aren't just changing your mind, you're changing your life. In a world overflowing with noise, the rarest skill is clarity. Every second, something or someone tries to tell you what to think, how to feel, and what to believe. Headlines scream, opinions clash, and half-truths travel faster than facts. But here's the truth few understand. Your peace, your progress, and your power depend on your ability to separate facts from assumptions. That single skill can protect your time, your energy, your relationships, and even your future. Because most stress doesn't come from what's real. It comes from what we assume to be real. Imagine this, your phone lights up with a message. For simple words, "We need to talk." Instantly, your pulse rises. Your mind starts writing stories. Did I do something wrong? Did they find out something? Is this about my job, my relationship, my mistake? But pause. What are the facts here? Only this. A message arrived that says, "We need to talk." Everything else, fear, guilt, panic, is assumption. This is how most mental storms begin. Not from reality, but from interpretation. The strongest minds are not those that know everything, but those that pause before assuming. Facts are what you can observe, measure, or verify. Assumptions are the stories you add to fill the silence between facts. The human brain hates uncertainty, so it rushes to fill gaps with stories. Unfortunately, those stories are usually negative because survival taught your brain to expect danger first. But in modern life, that instinct often works against you. You jump to conclusions about what people think, what the future holds, or why things happen. And each time you do, you hand your piece over to a guess. Let's test this. Fact, your boss looked serious in the meeting. Assumption, they must be disappointed in me. Fact, a friend didn't reply to your message. Assumption, they're ignoring me. Fact, a plan got delayed. Assumption, I'm cursed. Things never work out. See the difference? The facts are simple and neutral. The assumptions are emotional and explosive. The more you train yourself to pause between the two, the more power you reclaim. Whenever you face new information, an email, a rumor, a feeling, use this rule. Write down the exact fact. What can be observed without opinion? What actually happened, like a camera recording? List your first thoughts and label them guesses. Don't judge them. Just name them. My mind guessed that. Ask for proof. What evidence supports this guess? What evidence challenges it? What evidence is missing? Take one small action to find more proof. Ask questions. Observe behavior. Check reliable sources. This four-step rule transforms confusion into clarity. You turn emotional noise into rational insight. 1. Online claims. You see an ad promising, "This product will change your life in 7 days." Fact, an ad made a claim. Assumption, it's guaranteed to work. What's missing? Evidence, data, reviews, transparency. Real proof includes clear numbers, honest trials, balanced pros and cons. If all you see are exaggerated promises, it's not information, it's manipulation. 2. Relationships. Your partner seems distant one evening. Fact, they spoke less than usual. Assumption, they're upset with me. Maybe they're tired. Maybe they're lost in thought. If you respond to your assumption instead of the fact, you create conflict out of air. Instead, ask gently, "Rough day," and let evidence replace imagination. 3. Career. A coworker doesn't greet you in the hallway. Fact, they walked past without speaking. Assumption, they dislike me. Maybe they were distracted. Maybe they had bad news. Most emotional friction at work isn't caused by truth. It's caused by untested assumptions. Notice how your body reacts before your logic catches up. Your heart speeds up. Your jaw tightens. Your chest feels heavy. When that happens, use your 5 senses to ground yourself back in the moment. Feel the chair beneath you. Notice the temperature of the air. Listen to ambient sounds. Breathe slowly. Grounding brings your awareness back to facts of the present. You can't think clearly in panic. Calm restores accuracy. When you hear bold claims, especially about money, politics, or health, use this timeless test. Don't believe anything until it passes the three-source rule. If at least 3 independent, detailed, and reputable sources agree, it's probably worth considering. If you can only find loud opinions and no credible evidence, step back. This simple rule can save you from scams, fake news, and poor decisions. Certain words are red flags that tell you assumption is taking over. Whenever you hear yourself using them, pause and test them. Red flag word. Why it's dangerous. Replace with always. Overgeneralizes one event into every event. Sometimes, never, creates false hopelessness. Occasionally, everyone/no one, removes nuance and truth. Some people, I know what they're thinking, mind reading. I wonder what they meant. It must be because, jumps to conclusions. Maybe, but let's see what's true. Precise words lead to precise thoughts. Vague words breed confusion. Instead of overthinking, test. If you believe a new morning routine will improve your focus, try it for 7 days. Track your mood, energy, and results. Now you have data, not guesses. If you think a food causes fatigue, log what you eat and how you feel. Evidence, not emotion, becomes your compass. Small tests build big confidence. When faced with a choice, ask, what are the facts of the situation? What assumptions am I making about the outcome? What evidence would make me more certain? What small step can I take to test the assumption safely? You'll find that most hard decisions become easier when you filter them through this process. Reacting fast feels powerful but often creates regret. Responding with clarity feels slower but creates control. Use the 10-minute rule for emotional messages. If a text or comment triggers you, wait 10 minutes before responding. In those minutes, write down the facts, your assumptions, and your evidence. Breathe. Then decide what deserves your energy. 10 minutes can save 10 relationships. Headlines today are built to grab emotion, not give context. They compress complexity into outrage. So before sharing or reacting, open the full article. Check the date. Check the author and source. Look for numbers, quotes, and named evidence. If the piece offers more feelings than facts, it's not truth. It's theater. When people promise you something, money, opportunity, partnership, write it down. Ask, what exactly is being promised? What happens if it doesn't go as planned? What are the guarantees, timelines, and terms? Clarity is not mistrust. It's respect. Respect for truth and for yourself. Your own emotions can be the biggest source of false assumptions. When tired, you assume danger. When stressed, you assume rejection. When angry, you assume betrayal. So before reacting, ask, am I thinking clearly? Or am I just tired, hungry, or emotional? Never make big decisions when your body is drained. A rested mind sees truth. Every month, choose one mistake that came from assumption. Write it down. What did I assume? What was actually true? What could I have checked? Then write one plan to prevent the same error. Reflection doesn't weaken you, it upgrades you. Clarity spreads. When someone says, nobody likes me, ask, who exactly? When did that happen? When a coworker says, the plan will fail, ask, what data shows that? You're not arguing, you're elevating the conversation. You're teaching calm thinking by example. Strong thinking doesn't mean cold thinking. You can be kind and clear. You can care and still check facts. You can believe and still verify. That balance, heart plus reason, is where wisdom lives. Make this vow to yourself. I will treat facts as facts and guesses as guesses. I will pause before assuming. I will ask for proof when it matters. I will test my beliefs before trusting them. I will stay kind even when I seek truth. This is not a cold way to live. It is a strong way to live. It saves you from drama. It earns you respect. And it brings a deep peace that only clarity can create. Because when you live guided by verified truth instead of unchecked assumption, your decisions sharpen. Your relationships deepen. Your mind quiets. And suddenly, life feels lighter. Not because the world changed, but because you stopped believing every story your mind told. Life rarely moves in straight lines. Just when you think the road ahead is clear, the ground shifts. Plans fail. Markets change. People evolve. And in those moments, your success depends on one thing: your ability to adapt fast. Rigid minds crack under change. Flexible minds bend and rise stronger. This is the quiet superpower of people who thrive in chaos. They don't resist reality, they reshape around it. Rigid thinking feels safe. It gives the illusion of control. You convince yourself, this is the only way, or it always has to be like this. But life doesn't care about your comfort. When change hits, rigid thinkers panic. They freeze or double down on broken methods. You've seen it before: the professional who refuses to learn new tools and slowly becomes irrelevant. The leader who clings to one strategy long after it's failed. The person who mistakes stubbornness for strength. Rigidity doesn't make you strong. It makes you brittle. The world rewards those who can adapt without losing direction. Those who adjust course without abandoning their mission. Flexible thinking isn't weakness or indecision. It's the ability to hold multiple perspectives, to ask new questions, to see more than one path to your goal. It means you don't crumble when things shift, you pivot. You don't say, this can't work. You say, what could work now? Flexibility keeps your energy flowing forward instead of getting trapped in resistance. Every rigid mind has a favorite word: always or never. I always fail at this. This never works for me. They always treat me like that. Those words are the language of limitation. Start paying attention to them. Every time you catch yourself using one, pause and replace it with something more open. I always fail. Sometimes I fail, sometimes I learn. This never works. It hasn't worked yet. They often, but not always. This tiny language shift breaks the mental cage. Flexibility begins with vocabulary. When something doesn't go your way, your first interpretation is rarely the full truth. The brain jumps to conclusions, but flexibility questions those conclusions. You missed an opportunity. Does it mean you're unlucky? Or could it mean something better is waiting, something you weren't ready for yet? You faced rejection. Does it mean you're unworthy? Or does it mean the fit wasn't right and you're being redirected? Ask this every time you feel stuck. What else could this mean? That single question turns frustration into possibility. Rigid thinking narrows vision. Flexible thinking widens it. Try this mental exercise daily. Imagine you're standing on a mountain, looking at your problem from far above. Then imagine seeing it through someone else's eyes. A mentor, a friend, even a critic. What might they notice that you've ignored? Perspective shifting doesn't mean you must agree with others. It simply stretches your mind beyond your default pattern. The broader your view, the wiser your choices. Flexibility is like a muscle. If you never stretch it, it weakens. So create small, safe disruptions in your daily routine. Take a new route to work. Sit somewhere different in your office. Try a new hobby or learn a skill you've avoided. Say yes to something uncertain once a week. These small acts train your brain to see change not as a threat, but as a teacher. So when real challenges appear, your mind is ready. Rigid thinkers crave control, and perfection is their drug. They believe if they can make everything flawless, they'll never fail. But perfection is the enemy of progress. Flexible thinkers know that done is better than perfect. They know that mistakes are feedback, not failure. The next time you hesitate because something isn't perfect, remind yourself, perfection freezes me. Progress frees me. Start, learn, adjust. That's how flexible thinkers win. Adapting fast doesn't mean rushing. It means knowing when to move and when to wait. Rigid people panic under pressure and act impulsively. Overthinkers stall forever and miss the moment. Flexible thinkers master timing. They act quickly when action is needed. They pause when information is missing. They adjust their pace like a skilled driver shifting gears. You build the skill through reflection. After every major choice, ask, did I move too fast or too slow? What cues did I miss? How can I balance speed with patience next time? Each reflection refines your timing instincts. You can't think flexibly if you're emotionally rigid. When fear spikes, curiosity dies. When anger dominates, understanding vanishes. Train emotional flexibility by practicing emotional range. When you feel tense, breathe. Label the feeling. Then ask, what else can I feel right now that's more useful? Replace anxiety with curiosity. Replace frustration with focus. Replace disappointment with determination. You can't always choose your emotions, but you can always choose your response to them. That's real flexibility. Many people stay stuck not because of failure, but because of outdated assumptions. You formed certain beliefs years ago, and you've been living under their shadow ever since. Challenge them. Ask, is this still true? Does this belief still serve who I'm becoming? What evidence supports this view today? Assumptions that once protected you might now be your prison. Update them before they harden into walls. Too much confidence turns into arrogance. Too much humility turns into hesitation. Flexible thinkers walk the middle path. They act boldly, but they're never too proud to adjust. They say, I might be wrong. Let's test it. That mindset is unstoppable, because humility keeps you open to learning, and confidence keeps you moving forward. Flexibility isn't about changing who you are. It's about changing how you get there. Your values, honesty, discipline, effort should remain firm. Your methods should remain fluid. If one strategy fails, you don't change your goal. You change your route. That's how strong people evolve without losing integrity. Think of bamboo. Deeply rooted, but flexible in the wind. That's the image of true resilience. You've adapted before many times. You've faced challenges, surprises, losses, and survived them all. Write down 3 times in your life when change scared you, but you eventually found a way through. What helped you adjust? What mindset carried you? That reflection is evidence. Proof that you are kappa. Of flexibility already. And when the next storm hits, remind yourself, I've done this before. I can do it again. Your environment shapes your thinking. Spend time with people who see options instead of obstacles. Those who say, let's figure it out, instead of, that's impossible. Energy is contagious. If you surround yourself with rigid minds, you'll absorb their limits. If you surround yourself with flexible thinkers, you'll absorb their freedom. Curiosity is flexibility's twin. When you stop asking questions, you stop growing. Ask why, ask how, ask what if. Ask it in your work, your relationships, your habits. Curiosity doesn't guarantee control, but it guarantees learning. And learning is the root of every adaptation. Many people mistake stubbornness for strength. But strength isn't refusing to bend. It's knowing when to bend without breaking. A strong person doesn't say, I never change. They say, I change when it's wise to. That's not weakness, that's mastery. At the end of each week, reflect. Where was I rigid? Where did I adapt well? What helped me adjust faster? Write your insights down. Every reflection strengthens awareness, and awareness strengthens flexibility. When you master flexible thinking, you stop fighting life and start flowing with it. Challenges no longer paralyze you, they provoke you to think smarter. Unexpected change no longer feels like chaos, it feels like a call to grow. You stop being the victim of circumstances and become the architect of adaptation. That's when everything changes. Because flexibility doesn't just make you smarter, it makes you free. Free from fear of failure. Free from obsession with control. Free to reinvent, rebuild, and rise again and again. So ask yourself, where have I been rigid? Where am I afraid to bend? What could I create if I learned to adapt instead of resist? Because once you master flexible thinking, nothing life throws at you can break you. You may bend, you may stumble, but you'll always rise. Stronger, smarter, and unshaken. Growth isn't just about doing more. It's about understanding what you're doing and why. Without reflection, even progress can become blind movement. You can build, achieve, and hustle endlessly, but if you never stop to look back, you'll repeat the same mistakes, lose sight of what matters, and confuse motion for meaning. That's why reflection isn't a luxury. It's a necessity for clarity, discipline, and self-mastery. Reflection turns experience into insight. Without reflection, a hard day is just pain. With reflection, it's a lesson. Without reflection, a success is just luck. With reflection, it becomes a repeatable pattern. Every person who grows consistently, athletes, entrepreneurs, artists, thinkers, has a system for looking back, learning, and refining. Because they know, what you don't review, you repeat. Reflection isn't overthinking. It's not self-criticism or guilt. Reflection means honest observation without judgment. It's asking, what worked today? What didn't? What did I learn about myself? What will I do differently tomorrow? No drama, no shame, just clarity. This kind of reflection keeps you grounded in reality instead of lost in noise. There are 3 levels to effective reflection. 1. The daily mirror, immediate awareness. At the end of each day, ask, what did I do well? Where did I react instead of respond? What can I adjust tomorrow? Write your answers. Don't rely on memory. Your mind forgets, but your notes remind you. 2. The weekly mirror, pattern awareness. Once a week, zoom out. Ask, what patterns repeated this week? Which habits helped or hurt me? What progress did I make toward my goals? This reveals what's consistent, good or bad. 3. The monthly mirror, direction awareness. Look even wider. Ask, am I still moving toward what truly matters? Are my goals still aligned with my values? What do I need to let go of? The monthly mirror ensures you're not just running fast, you're running in the right direction. Reflection fails when emotion hijacks objectivity. You might feel like you had a terrible week, but the facts might show that you completed key tasks, improved in small ways, and learned valuable lessons. Feelings are valid, but they're not always accurate. To balance the two, write both. Emotion, I felt unproductive. Fact, I completed 80% of my goals. This contrast often surprises you. The truth is rarely as bad or as good as it feels. A journal isn't just a diary, it's a data log for your mind. Use a consistent format to avoid drifting into random thoughts. Example template. What energized me today? What drained me today? What did I learn? What will I improve tomorrow? Simple. Repeat daily. Over weeks, you'll see patterns in your energy, habits, and decisions. That awareness becomes self-mastery. The quality of your reflection depends on the quality of your questions. Weak questions keep you stuck in emotion. Why does this always happen to me? What's wrong with me? Strong questions lead you forward. What is this trying to teach me? What can I control right now? What's one small thing I can do better tomorrow? Ask questions that open, not close. That's how reflection transforms pain into wisdom. Most people only reflect after failure or success, after exams, big projects, heartbreaks, or wins. But the most valuable reflections come from the ordinary days. Because your life isn't built from rare peaks. It's built from daily choices. When you reflect daily, small course corrections prevent big regrets later. The brain forgets lessons faster than it forgets pain. After a tough day, write what you learned before the emotion fades. Otherwise, your mind remembers the sting but not the wisdom. Example, today I argued too fast because I was tired. Next time, I'll pause before responding when I'm low on energy. One sentence like that can save you from repeating a week's worth of mistakes. Goals are not set and forget. They must evolve with you. Each month, review your goals and ask, do these still matter to me? Are they pulling me forward or weighing me down? What's one goal I should drop or update? Reflection filters out outdated ambitions so you can focus on what truly matters now. When you reflect, your brain often hunts for flaws first. It's built to fix problems, not celebrate progress. You must consciously reverse that. Write down your small wins, even the quiet ones. Woke up on time. Stayed calm in conflict. Finished that one hard email. These small victories build emotional momentum. They remind your mind that progress is happening. Reflection without action is daydreaming. Every reflection session should end with one simple question. What's my next step? Don't overthink it. A small action done today makes reflection real. Maybe it's an apology. Maybe it's reorganizing your schedule. Maybe it's a new boundary or a tiny habit. Do it before the day ends so the lesson becomes lived, not lost. Talking about your reflections with a friend or mentor deepens understanding. They might notice patterns you can't see. They might remind you of progress you overlook. This isn't about seeking validation. It's about expanding awareness through another perspective. Growth multiplies when shared honestly. Many avoid reflection because it's uncomfortable. They fear what they'll see. Mistakes, procrastination, wasted time. But refusing to look doesn't make it disappear. It just hides it until it becomes worse. Reflection isn't punishment. It's self-respect. You're not exposing weakness. You're revealing truth, and truth is where growth begins. Your phone can be a distraction or a discipline tool. Set reminders for nightly reflections. Use voice notes if you're too tired to write. Use apps that track habits, focus, and energy levels. The tool doesn't matter. The consistency does. When you reflect on experiences, don't just list facts. Reconnect with how they felt. This strengthens memory and emotional intelligence. Ask, what emotion dominated this day? What triggered it? How did I handle it? How can I respond differently next time? This awareness transforms reaction into response and emotion into wisdom. After reviewing the past, look ahead. Ask, based on what I learned, what's my next move? What will I do differently in the next 7 days? This turns reflection into strategy. Keeps your focus forward-facing while grounded in truth. The mind collects unfinished thoughts like a desk collects papers. Reflection is mental cleaning. When you pause to write, organize, and clarify, you clear emotional debris. You make space for focus. Clarity isn't found by thinking more. It's found by thinking clearly. Reflection is the broom that sweeps the noise away. Before you sleep tonight, ask yourself, what gave me energy today? What drained my energy? What did I learn? Write honest, simple answers. Do this for 7 days straight, and you'll start to see exactly where your peace and power come from. That knowledge will guide every future decision. Reflection doesn't have to be serious or heavy. It can be calm, beautiful, even sacred. Light a candle. Sit with tea. Put your phone away. Spend 5 quiet minutes meeting your own mind. You'll be amazed how peaceful it feels to reconnect with yourself without judgment, noise, or performance. When you practice reflection, you'll notice something shift. Your mind feels lighter. Your days feel more deliberate. You start catching yourself in the moment instead of regretting after. You'll stop guessing who you are because you'll know. That's the real gift of reflection. Not perfection, but awareness. And awareness creates control. Reflection is not a one-time practice. It's a lifelong mirror. Each day gives you a chance to learn again, refine again, and rise again. The more you reflect, the clearer your direction becomes. The clearer your direction, the stronger your results. And the stronger your results, the calmer your mind. This is the loop of mastery. So tonight, take 5 minutes. Write 1 page. Ask 1 good question. Learn 1 real lesson. That's how clarity grows, not in loud breakthroughs, but in quiet reviews. Because the person who reflects daily doesn't just move through life. They learn from life. They turn every experience, good or bad, into wisdom, peace, and progress. And that's how you build a life that feels not just busy, but deeply aligned. Most people go through life chasing answers, but never stopping to question the questions themselves. They ask the world for clarity, yet never turn the spotlight inward. But the truth is this: every breakthrough in your life begins with a question you dared to ask yourself. Growth doesn't start with knowing more. It starts with questioning deeper. Because until you challenge your assumptions, you can't change your reality. As children, we were all masters of curiosity. We asked why 100 times a day. Why the sky is blue. Why people act the way they do. Why rules exist. But somewhere along the path to adulthood, we traded curiosity for certainty. We stopped asking why and started assuming we already know. And that's where growth stops. The mind that stops questioning starts decaying. You don't grow by adding more information. You grow by asking better questions about the information you already have. Think of the greatest turning points in your life. They probably began not with an event, but with a question. Is this really who I want to be? Why am I still doing this? What would happen if I finally changed? Questions like these crack open the walls of autopilot. They pull you out of emotional fog and force you to face truth. If you want to uncover deeper personal insight, you must master the habit of intentional self-questioning. Weak questions keep you trapped in emotion. They sound like, why does this always happen to me? What's wrong with me? Why can't I just be normal? These questions assume failure before they seek understanding. They pull you downward instead of forward. Replace them with constructive questions. What can I learn from this pattern? What belief is driving this reaction? What can I do differently next time? Strong questions build clarity. Weak questions build confusion. The first answer you get is rarely the real one. Your mind will give you surface-level logic to protect your comfort. You must go deeper. Use the 5 whys method. Ask why up to 5 times for any issue you're facing. Example. Q1. Why am I unhappy at work? A 1. Because I don't feel appreciated. Q2. Why don't I feel appreciated? 2. Because I rarely get feedback. Q3. Why don't I get feedback? 3. Because I don't ask for it. Q4. Why don't I ask? 4. Because I'm afraid of criticism. Q5. Why am I afraid of criticism? 5. Because I link it with failure. Now you're not dealing with my boss doesn't care. You're dealing with my fear of failure. That's the real insight. Every person carries mental scripts written years ago, often by parents, teachers, or society. You live by those scripts without even noticing. Assumptions like, I'm not good enough. People can't be trusted. Success is only for others. But here's the question. Who told you that? And more importantly, were they right? Ask yourself, when did I first start believing this? What evidence supports it? What evidence contradicts it? Does this belief still serve who I want to become? Most of the time, you'll find that your limitations are inherited, not earned. And what's inherited can be rewritten. Many people chase goals they never chose consciously. They want money, fame, success because everyone else does. But ask yourself, why do I want this? What feeling do I believe this will give me? Is there another way to get that feeling? You might discover that what you truly seek isn't wealth. It's freedom. Not validation, but peace. Not power, but purpose. And when you identify the real desire behind the goal, your path becomes far clearer. Sometimes the mind needs a mirror to see itself clearly. Ask questions that reveal the cost of inaction. What happens if I don't change? What does my life look like if I keep thinking this way for 5 more years? Then ask the opposite. What could my life become if I started changing today? The gap between those 2 answers will ignite motivation more powerful than any external push. When you feel strong emotions, anger, fear, guilt, stop and ask, what exactly am I feeling right now? What triggered it? What story am I telling myself about this? Is that story true? Emotions aren't random. They are feedback. Each question you ask pulls a message from the noise. Over time, you'll notice patterns. You'll see that anger often hides hurt, and fear often hides desire. Awareness grows where curiosity lives. Each night, write 1 question to yourself and answer it honestly. Examples. What moment today made me proud? What moment today drained me? What did I avoid facing today? What would my future self thank me for doing tomorrow? This simple nightly practice trains your brain to explore instead of react. And over time, your questions become sharper and your insights deeper. When faced with an important decision, pause. Instead of asking, what should I do? Ask, what am I afraid will happen if I do this? What am I afraid will happen if I don't? What would I advise someone else to do in my situation? These questions remove emotional bias and reveal the core truth beneath the noise. Stop assuming what others think. Ask them. When tension rises, say, can you tell me how you felt when that happened? What do you need from me right now? How can I support you better? These simple questions turn arguments into understanding. They prove maturity, empathy, and strength. And when people feel heard, they open up, giving you clarity no assumption could ever provide. Behind every major block in your life lies something you don't want to face. Maybe it's a painful truth. Maybe it's a responsibility you've postponed. Maybe it's fear disguised as logic. Sit in silence and ask yourself, what am I avoiding right now that, if I faced it, would change everything? It's not an easy question, but it's always an important one. The answer often reveals your next breakthrough. As you grow older, your mind builds walls of certainty. Break them by asking questions as if you were new to life again. What if I'm wrong about this? What would this look like if I knew nothing? What's one thing I can still learn here? A beginner's mind stays open to discovery, and discovery is the source of creativity, humility, and truth. Powerful questions don't demand instant answers. Sometimes they're seeds that need silence, reflection, and time to bloom. Write them down. Sit with them. Let your subconscious work in the background. Answers that are forced are often false. Answers that emerge slowly are the ones that stick. Ask yourself, what truth about myself have I been afraid to admit? That single question has ended careers, rebuilt lives, and birthed greatness. Because honesty, real, unfiltered honesty, is the beginning of freedom. Instead of saying, I can't handle this, say, how can I handle this better? Instead of saying, this isn't fair, say, what can this teach me about resilience? Questions shift your state from powerless to powerful. They pull you out of reaction and into control. Once you ask, stop talking. Listen not just with your mind, but with your body. Notice what feels tense when you think about certain answers. Notice where you resist. The body often knows the truth before the brain admits it. True reflection isn't just thinking. It's feeling with awareness. Keep a list of powerful questions that challenge you. Here are a few to start. What am I doing out of fear, not love? Where am I hiding from responsibility? What would I do if I wasn't afraid of judgment? Who am I becoming through my habits? What version of me am I feeding every day? Review these weekly. The questions you resist the most are usually the ones that will free you. It takes courage to question yourself deeply, because real questions can destroy your favorite illusions. But that destruction is necessary for transformation. Curiosity is not confusion. It's growth. When you stop pretending you have all the answers, you finally start learning again. The process is simple but powerful. Ask with honesty. Sit with the discomfort. Listen without defense. Act with what you discover. That's the bridge between self-awareness and self-improvement. Insight is useless unless it becomes action. You will never run out of questions, and that's the beauty of it. Life keeps revealing new layers the more you dare to ask. Each season, each failure, each success gives you a new set of questions. And every time you face them, you grow stronger, clearer, wiser. Because the more you know yourself, the less you can be shaken by the world. Before every major decision, before every new chapter, ask this. Is this choice helping me become the person I want to be, or pulling me further away? That one question, answered honestly, can change the direction of your entire life. Because every decision is a vote for the kind of person you're becoming. So take a breath. Pick one question from this chapter. Sit with it. Write about it. Let it open a door you've avoided. Because growth isn't found in having all the answers. It's found in asking the right questions, again and again. And when you live that way, with curiosity, honesty, and courage, you stop being controlled by your mind. You begin to understand it. And from that understanding, you build the wisdom to create the life you truly deserve. Mastery is not born in grand moments. It is forged in the quiet alignment between what you think, what you believe, and what you do every single day. You can study success, visualize greatness, and plan endlessly, but if your thoughts and actions pull in different directions, you will stay stuck. Real growth begins when the mind, the heart, and the hands start working in harmony. That is the path to mastery. Not chaos, not noise, but alignment. Every person has two lives, the one they imagine in their mind and the one they live in their habits. If the gap between those two grows too wide, you begin to feel lost. You talk about change, but you don't feel it. You dream about impact, but you never touch it. That gap is not laziness, it's misalignment. Mastery begins when you close that gap, one deliberate action at a time. Most people either act without thinking or think without acting. Both extremes lead to frustration. You need both. Clarity before motion. Courage after clarity. Before acting, ask, what outcome do I want? What's the simplest action that moves me there? Once clear, stop analyzing. Act immediately. Thinking without action breeds anxiety. Action without thinking breeds chaos. Mastery is balance, reflection, then execution. A day without purpose becomes a blur. Feels full but empty, busy but meaningless. Every morning, anchor your day with one sentence. Today, I'm moving closer to That blank could be discipline, peace, health, or a long-term goal. This alignment gives every action context. You're not just working. You're building consistency. You're not just exercising. You're becoming stronger for your future self. You're not just learning. You're sharpening the weapon of your mind. Purpose transforms ordinary effort into sacred action. Thinking big is good. Acting small is essential. If your mind is filled with massive goals, but your schedule doesn't reflect them, frustration will eat you alive. So ask, what is the smallest repeatable action that moves me closer to this goal? Then make it a ritual. Want focus? Start with 10 minutes of morning silence. Want fitness? Begin with 20 push-ups a day. Want mastery? Read or practice for 30 minutes daily. Rituals are proof of commitment. They are where theory becomes reality. Your attention is the currency of mastery. Where it flows, your energy follows. Every distraction steals alignment. Every wasted scroll weakens your focus. Before starting anything, ask, is this feeding my purpose or draining it? Protect your focus like a gatekeeper. The world is full of noise trying to buy your mind cheap. Don't sell it. Feelings fluctuate. Systems stabilize. If you rely on motivation, you'll act only when it's easy. If you rely on systems, you'll act even when it's hard. Example. Instead of saying, I'll work when I feel ready, say, I'll work every morning at 7 a.m. Instead of saying, I'll eat healthy when I'm disciplined, say, I'll prep meals every Sunday night. Systems are emotional armor. They keep you consistent when your mood betrays you. You can't build a disciplined life with a chaotic identity. If you believe, I'm lazy, your brain will subconsciously sabotage progress to stay consistent with that belief. Shift your identity first. I'm becoming someone who keeps promises to himself. I'm learning to follow through. I'm the kind of person who finishes what he starts. When belief aligns with behavior, action feels natural, not forced. What you track improves. What you ignore fades. Track your daily behaviors, not just results. Results are delayed. Habits are immediate. Keep a small scorecard. Did I stay aligned with my purpose today? Yes/no. Did I keep my promises? Did I waste energy on distractions? Did I finish what I started? It's not about perfection, it's about progress. Each checkmark is a signal to your brain. I am consistent. Alignment requires constant calibration. Reflection is your steering wheel. Each night, ask, did my actions today reflect my priorities? What felt off balance? What can I adjust tomorrow? Small adjustments compound over time. Mastery isn't about getting it right once. It's about refining endlessly. The brain loves familiarity. Every time you repeat a positive action, you make it easier next time. Repetition turns effort into rhythm. And rhythm is what makes mastery feel natural. You don't rise to the level of your ambition, you fall to the level of your repetition. So repeat deliberately. Let discipline become muscle memory. A restless mind can't guide a tired body. A neglected body can't support an ambitious mind. Balance both. Move daily. Eat clean. Rest deeply. Your physical state influences clarity, focus, and patience. Mastery isn't built in exhaustion. It's built in energetic balance. When alignment begins, resistance appears. You'll feel fear, doubt, or fatigue whisper, "Not today." Don't fight it blindly. Pause and ask, what is this resistance trying to protect me from? Often it's fear of failure or discomfort. But discomfort is the birthplace of growth. Don't kill resistance. Understand it and move anyway. Every master has rules they don't break, no matter what. Create your own. I don't skip my morning routine. I don't waste energy arguing online. I don't end a day without reflection. I don't abandon my commitments to myself. Each non-negotiable becomes a pillar that keeps your alignment intact, even when chaos strikes. You can't align a scattered mind. Multitasking divides your power. Focus multiplies it. When you work, just work. When you rest, just rest. Train your brain to be fully present in one thing at a time. Presence is power, distraction is decay. Not everything deserves your effort. When your purpose is clear, decisions become easy. Ask, does this task bring me closer to my long-term vision or just fill my short-term comfort? Cut everything that doesn't serve your larger direction. Saying no to noise is saying yes to mastery. Your credibility, with others and with yourself, is built when your words match your actions. Don't overpromise. Don't declare change. Demonstrate it. Each time you do what you said you would, your self-trust grows. And self-trust is the backbone of mastery. Every mistake is information. Ask after failure. Was my goal unclear? Were my actions inconsistent? Did my emotions override my logic? Failure shows where your alignment broke. Fix that point and you'll grow twice as strong. The more complicated your system, the faster it collapses. Simplify until alignment feels effortless. Fewer goals, clearer habits, shorter lists, deeper focus. Complexity kills consistency. Simplicity sustains mastery. True mastery takes time. The aligned path is not the fastest, it's the most stable. Some days will feel slow. Others will feel silent. But still, progress is happening beneath the surface. Trust the invisible work. Mastery rewards patience, not panic. Never sacrifice your values for results. Success without integrity is collapse disguised as victory. Alignment isn't just between thought and action, it's between action and ethics. Be proud not just of what you achieve, but how you achieved it. That pride lasts longer than any applause. The world doesn't need more talkers, it needs examples. Let your life be the quiet proof of your alignment. Think clearly, act consistently, live purposefully. When your thoughts and actions finally walk in the same direction, life feels lighter. Not because the path got easier, but because you stopped walking against yourself. That is mastery. That is peace. That is power. So before you end today, ask yourself, did I think, speak, and act in alignment today? If yes, that's success. If no, adjust and try again tomorrow. Because mastery isn't a destination, it's a daily synchronization. And once your thoughts, beliefs, and actions align, no force can stop your momentum.